quick program note, news.com won't be with us because they changed their name to Nuga.com about 10 minutes ago. And the founder is Jun Sung. And here he is, the man, the legend.
Hi, good evening. Do you ever run into a situation where you have to recall an exact name of a person and you have a certain image of the person and you know who their friends are, who they're related to, but you just can't get to the right name? It happens to me a lot, and that's called the tip of the tongue syndrome. And I'm a recent victim of recovering victim of tip of the tongue syndrome, and we decided to tackle this problem and find a cure for that disease. Nuga is a Korean word. It means who in Korean. So we'll start off by answering the question of who. Next. My name is Sung Jun-hyung, and I grew up all over the world as a diplomat's son. And growing up, I was precautious in math, and I started doing research since high school. And by the time I was in graduate school, by the time I was in college, I was in graduate work. And I was very prolific in terms of producing research, but I decided it's not all that fun being different. So I pursued a normal career path, working in investment banking and management consulting firms for a number of years. And that normal career path came to an end when I had to serve in the Korean Army, which is mandatory. So during that time, I thought to myself, why not work on something that I feel rewarding and at the same time do something that's challenging. And I picked up programming and all the technology on my own since then. And I listed some of the services that I flipped through and a number of patents that I filed, some of which were registered. That's a lot of information just about me, but there is actually a point to this exercise. My question is, any of you remember, could you recall what my name is, which I said earlier in the presentation? So you guys also have that problem. And even with the help of LinkedIn and Facebook, I have just too many friends, and it's hard to associate names with the faces or general big picture of who the person is. So I have a mental map of the friends and who they're associated with, but it's not immediately associated with a name, like a dictionary. Next. So what's the brilliant idea? So why not squeeze an entire keyboard and computing facilities into a smart device, like the one that Samsung just came out with, like a smartwatch, or a phone that everybody has nowadays. Again, the point of that is, as any reasonable person would do, is to Google it, right? You would Google who I am, just to be able to get to the answer. You'd be Googling something like Asian guy at SF New Tech, Korean, and maybe if you're lucky, you'll find the answer. But I think that's an exercise in futility. It usually doesn't work. Next. So not even Google can help you in this situation. And in this kind of situation, when you're out, like not tethered to a computer, you know how much joy it is tapping the tiny keys onto your smartphone. And that joy is even more so. Can you imagine doing this on a smartwatch? So next slide. What you really want to do is write it on your palm, like I do. If you forget what you have to remember, But what you really want to do is be able to pull out a name from your contact list. And that's recalling, not searching. And the problem is the solutions that the computers provide are not suited for it's not the right domain. It's for the purpose of searching, not recalling. And it's not optimized for mobile setting. It's for computing devices. These are some figures to show you the difference between scope, between recalling and searching. Recalling is such a small domain, and it's dramatically smaller than searching. Next. So I will show you the user interface that we have. You simply have to tap to filter the map of the people in your network, and next. And either slide left or right to indicate similar or opposite of. And it will suggest people based on deep learning methods to narrow down the people that you're searching. And with each use, the machine learns, and it gets better at predicting who you want to search next. And unlike other machine learning solutions, this is not a black box, and it's completely open, and you can visually see how your interaction with the software is training the map. And statistically, you could get to recalling the person in your contact within 3 to 5 interactions. Next. This is a lot simpler than having to type into tiny machines, tiny keyboards on smart devices, and having to Google them. So I mean, this is a problem that's really dear and near to myself. So I decided to talk about this app and service instead of the big data service that I initially planned to talk about tonight, which was on news.com. Thanks for listening.
Okay, we're a little long, so we have 3 minutes, 20 seconds for questions.
So how do I remember your name?
Again, I was kind of ambiguous about the scope of the problem. It would have to be within the people already in your database, within LinkedIn or Facebook or what have you.
Let's say you are on my LinkedIn. Now what?
The process is there are a number of predefined filters that you would step through, and you would either narrow down the search or indicate something similar or dissimilar. And we use a new algorithm in machine learning, which can do basically arithmetics on highly dimensional vectors. So for example, if you had a word king and subtract male and add female, it would suggest words with the word queen ranked as number 1 and a couple other words that are in the vicinity.
So I think this is just a follow-up to gentleman that just asked the question. I just met you today, right here. I just met you today, right? This is just a clarification of the first question. I just met you today, so there is no one in my LinkedIn profile or Facebook that's associated with you other than SF&T, right?
Yes.
So what's the input that is required for your algorithm or your program to isolate your name?
Again, the premise is that the person that you want to recall is already in the database through social network and mobile device contact list.
Yep. So I put your name, let's say, in the LinkedIn, and after this event.
Technically, what we do is a multinomial search. So we drill down and divide the population of people on your contacts. And we balance the tree, the division of people who are in one group or the other, or one tag or another. But the difference is in the traditional search in computer science is assuming that you have an innumerable set, and you can literally divide the group into a clean cut between like number that is higher or alphabetically higher or lower. But in our case, this is based on a very fuzzy set of distinction, whether a person is closer to someone or whether someone is in the context of like people that you met or people that you've called. So those factors go into training the machine learning process. So if you were to look, I mean, specifically, if you were to look someone up based on a meeting that occurred today, we would narrow down to other people that you also met today, and based on other really explicit features like sex, like gender or ethnicity, and so forth.
Good, we're out of time, but that was awesome. Thank you very much. Let me shake your hand. Good job. Thank you.